All right. So so we're going to start now. And I hope the others will join, but it's now 11 minutes past the time. So we really can't wait again for them. Now, the other thing I would add to this is that our plan is that every Friday, starting from now, we're going to be having sessions like this with you, just to handhold you to make sure that you understand what you need to do for the next 2 weeks. So that's the whole idea. So so we're going to be doing this, but though, you know, some of you might decide, you know, that maybe you have enough information from, we're going to also give you this slide deck, which tells you what's going to happen every week. And if you look at week 2 and week 3 activities, there is actually a very detailed YouTube video from Google that explains some of those things you'll be doing in those 2 weeks as well. So in addition to we giving you an overview, you also have those YouTube videos that you can look at for each of the weeks, which when Collins finishes, I will ask him to probably click on that video for you to just, not to show the whole thing, just to know, for you to know that the video session is there as well. All right, Collins, let's take it away.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's training, and quickly we'll dive into the week trial for this week, which is week 2 and also week 3. So here, if you look very closely, you see that this is especially for the IT admin and also, of course, the school management who want to join in. And then the week 3, which I'll be discussing the Google Meet, especially for all the teachers as well. Of course, the IT admin are also welcome to join this session. So these 2 weeks, we are trying out, or we are taking this session to cover these 2 areas for these 2 weeks. So start off, I will be looking at the Google Meet. So I'll be starting off with the Google Meet. Some of the special features that we have in the Education Plus editions are the breakout rooms, the larger meeting functionality, which is your live stream that Mr. K has just mentioned. And then we're going to look at how we can also activate our recording functionality in our admin console. So to make it possible for you to record meetings, like the meeting we are having right now is being recorded. So all these functionalities need to be turned on for them to really function properly in your domain or in your account. So I will go straight to sharing another screen. And this time around, I'll be sharing the screen of those codes. I'll be sharing the admin console of those codes, which I'll be using to show us how we can use the breakout room features and all that we have in there. So let's go. So here is the admin console of both codes, as you can see here. And the Education Plus functionalities are fully activated here. And without wasting much of our time, I'll quickly want to show us the Google Meet settings from the apps. I'll move straight to the Google Workspace, where then I can access my Google Meet. If you check down here, we're going to see the Google Meet app. So here I'll need to check on the settings to be sure that all the functions I intend to use for these demonstrations are all turned on. So let's take a look. Under the Meet video settings, look closely on this record. You can see it's currently turned off. So at the moment, nobody on this domain will be allowed to use the recording feature, and I'll need to change this and turn it on. Also, the stream is also turned on. So the live stream that we are talking about now, which is streaming from the YouTube channels, is not activated at the moment. So I'll need to quickly turn this on and the recording on. Then we can then dive into other things that we need to show you in Google Meet. And mind you, your advanced reporting is automatically on by default, so you don't need to, have anything to do with this. Attendance reporting, I mean, and this is actually a very to introduce Education Plus that allows to take your attendance even as you have your meetings. So, but make sure you have at least more than 4 attendees in the meeting for you to be able to use this feature. So let's go into turn on this. Just click anywhere here. So you can see I'm turning on Meet video settings. So the recording is turned off. So I'll click on it. I'll then check this box that says let people record their meetings. So this is on. I'll click save. So I can go down to do for the same thing to the stream. It's currently off. Click on it and I'll turn it on. So with this now, let people stream their meetings. Stream meetings have a URL that can be sent. So of course, you're going to generate a URL or a link that you can send to all the participants to join the meeting. And then this particular option will allow anyone with the link, irrespective of the person's identity. Like if you have people outside your domain, people that are using their personal emails, and of course, thousands of people that want to join this meeting are probably people that are not even in your school or have what to do with the organization. So you might want to give them the opportunity to also join the live stream by turning on this box. So it is very important not just turning only this one on, but also turn the second one to allow others from outside your domain. So people that are having their personal emails can also join. The public can join using the link you must have shared on your social media handles or any platform that you use to engage your audience. So go ahead and click on save. And that is done. So you can see that the Google Meet functionality for the recording and also for the stream has been turned on successfully. So the next thing now is then to learn how to use some of these functionalities. So you can see here, of course, IT admin laptop, this is especially for you. I don't expect our teacher to come around here to play around with what you have here for now. At least that admin have the sole responsibility to make sure that things are coordinated and well managed from the admin console. So that's that for the settings for Google Meet. So let's see how we can schedule our meet and not just schedule our meet because I already know that many of us know how to schedule our meetings and all that. Then I want to show us how you can create your breakout rooms. Breakout rooms are just groupings that you want to have in your session. For any meetings that you want to have, you might want to differentiate. In this case, assuming the meeting is a classroom, you might want to differentiate your class into different groups, like we do in the normal physical classroom. So how can you create your breakout room even a day or two before your class? Just the way you schedule your meetings, assuming the class is tomorrow, let's say by 11 o'clock, click on this space. So Saturday, 11. You can put in the title. You already know how to do this. Make it a Google Meet conferencing call. And then you then click on this option that says video call options. This is actually the area I want us to pay very close attention to. Notice that most of the things you see here are quite familiar with what you're already doing with Google Meet. So you can click here. So this is where you are going to create your breakout rooms. Now I'm doing this here a day before. Maybe I have a class of about 25 students, about 30 students, or I have a meeting that will take about 50 participants. Of course, I will not be doing the breakout rooms on the very day of the meeting. I need to put everybody in all the various groups that I want them to be in before the meeting date. So host controls, no problem with this. We all know what we do here. The settings that you need to turn on and turn off. Co-host, no problem. Let's go straight to the breakout room proper. So you can see at the moment, I have just 2 rooms. I can increase this to about as many numbers as I want. And if you come down here, at the moment, I have this as the main call. And then inside this box, for each of the breakout boxes you see here, you can go ahead and type in the names of the participants. So at the moment, this is one I want to do just to make it very, very quick. Of course, if you have the email of all your students, you just go to the Excel spreadsheet that you have them, pick them from there, and then begin to paste them. So it makes it faster instead of typing out all emails one by one. So just to help us save time, that I'm trying to just use the same email already registered here to just go ahead to create all of this breakout room. So one person is already here, which can only go for one breakout room at a time. You can see if I try to type in the same name in another breakout, it moves. So I need more names to be able to fill out all these various rooms. So let me leave this as breakout room 1. And of course, there is also an option for you to change the name of the room. You know, you have your classes, you want to give them different names, maybe precious metal and all that. You understand what I mean? I can call this gold, gold. I can call this silver. I can call this bronze. You know, so here I'll begin to add all the different names for all the groups that I have at the moment. Once I'm done with this, all I need to do here is to click save, and the breakout rooms has been created. So
Collins, the question on breakout rooms from Chiwe. She says, do they have to type the names or does it automatically pick the names?
Okay, you don't need to type out the names one by one. All you need to do is find a place where you have all emails registered. Just do a simple copy and paste. Do you understand? Just do a simple copy and paste. If these are names that they are used often in your admin console or in your environment, if you can type in the first or second name of the user, of course the email will just pop up automatically.
Okay, let me explain that a little bit more. So if you have a meeting scheduled, say for your school, and in your meeting invite, you already added the names of all the people that will attend that meeting in your meeting invite. So what it's going to do, it will automatically, first of all, and then you can specify how many meeting breakout rooms you want, and it will automatically split the people up. It's only if you want to manually put people in specific groups. Maybe you know some kids that you don't want them to be together in the same breakout room. You might say, okay, I want to manually, you can change some things, but it allows you, once you have put the names of all the attendants in your meeting invite, then and you set up breakout rooms, it can actually automatically, and then you specify the number of rooms you want, it will split the names up automatically for you, you know, but you can then manually change it around if you want to. Yeah. So it's only if you don't have the name in your meeting invite that you have to manually add it. That's the only time it's necessary for you to manually add it. But if you already have it in your meeting invite, it will automatically do it for you when you set up the breakout rooms. Okay, let's go on, Collins.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. K. As you can, just like what he just said now. So look at the names that are just added in the guest, and they just appeared automatically to the list. So let's move on to how we can then, let me send this. Okay, so let's go straight to the meeting now. So I'm going to my Google Meet, or I can quickly just start the meeting from here without wasting much of our time. Click on Join Meet. So let me join the meeting. Allow. Okay. So it's connecting. All right. So I've opened the meeting. So next I need to do is then to access the breakout room to actually properly use it in this meeting. So locate this button that says activities, as you can see at the bottom right corner. Click on it. And just to quickly show us that the recording functionality is active, as you can see. The live stream is also up. But look at the breakout room function. So let's click on them and see all the rooms that we have just created. For the gold, for the silver, for the bronze. These are all the various rooms that I've just created in the breakout room. So give it some time, it's going to come up so we can join. So this is another option you have here to also set up your breakout room. If you don't want to do that from the calendar I just mentioned earlier, this is another option where you can set it up. But already I have these three rooms created: the gold, the silver, and also the bronze. So let me quickly open the rooms. So you're invited to join this. That is me at the moment, to join this particular room. Okay, so it's taking quite some time. Just pardon my network. So I'm currently in the room gold, as you can see at the moment. So I'm currently in the room gold. So whatever activities or whatever things I'll need to do with this particular group, I can do that. I can at the same time leave or join another group or another room. So I can leave. So this will take me back to the main call. And quickly. Okay, so that is coming up now. So I'm back to my main call. And my activities is still very much open. So the recording, I'll go back. Okay, so the live stream that we just mentioned, all you need to do is to click on it and click on stream with YouTube. This is how you can generate the link for your live stream. So this, of course, was a reboot, and it's going to take about 24 hours for it to start functioning. That's the structure of the information that we are seeing here. So remember, I just turned it on, so it's going to take about 24 hours for us to start making use of the live stream. So let's go back. I will not touch this for now. You know what this will do for us. So the breakout room, the larger meeting, which is the live stream I just mentioned, has just been explained. I don't know if you have any question on these tools that I just mentioned. Of course, don't forget that you also have your pools. This is actually a tool that will enable you to just quickly give a quick assessment of whatever it is that you are discussing, or you want to just get some feedbacks from your audiences. You can ask a question, put on the answers, and then launch it. Every other person in the call will definitely will get this pool and respond to them in real time. So if you want to get responsive with some names, of course, you can turn this on and all of that. So that's actually your pools, and it's actually a very cool tool. And moving away from the breakout room or the Google Meet, rather, I'll be going back to my admin console where I'll be discussing the security center. So this is actually a very important area that the IT admin in this call need to pay very close attention to, because there are a lot of serious stuff we are going to be doing here.
Collins, just 1 minute. Let me just take 2 minutes to summarize some of the things you've done, and then you can use that time to get ready for the next demo. So you probably want to start with the dashboard, and then you go to the health check. Start with dashboard and then go to the health check, and then the security store. So let me just summarize what is just demo to you. So it's only giving you a taste of what is possible. So we're basically just leaving all of you to go in there the next 2 weeks and actually use this like you would do normally. If you can't use them now, like I said, you can always use it later, but at least try and use some of the functionality that you have. Now, I can even think of some of the ways you might want to use this in your schools, for instance. For instance, when you have meetings with your parents, some parents don't come for these meetings, either because they live a long distance, or for whatever reason, they just can't travel. But you want as many people as possible to participate in this meeting. Perhaps it's a meeting that you want to take a decision on particular thing about your school. So rather than having to expect everybody to come to school, you could have a live meeting session, which this takes you up to 250. So as many parents as possible could join online. You could even do better by live streaming it on YouTube, which will make your school look really, really nice, to the parents. Oh, wow, our school is live streaming on YouTube and they're doing it live. So you can also think of instances where you can use some of this. For instance, a good example could also be perhaps your students have some activity in school, and you just, maybe a teacher is doing something that they think is exciting and they want maybe the parents to see it without having to call the parents to the school. Maybe a particular class, they're doing something that is really exciting and they want the parents to see it. Of course, you can record the video and send to the parents if you want from this recording, or you could even live stream it if you are very confident. You could tell the parents, we're going to be doing this in our class this particular time. We're going to send you the link and you can watch your students, your kids do this in school. So there are many things. I'm sure as you guys use it, you can think of many things that you could use them for. If you take the breakout rooms and the polls, for instance, if you want the parents to take a decision about something you want to do in your school, you could actually take an online poll, set up these polls, and let them respond to the polls, and you get your answer quickly without having to wait for days, sending emails and kind of follow up and stuff like that. And then when you look at the breakout rooms, you guys do this physically anyway in your schools. When you want to give kids assignments, something they have to do together, you put them into different groups, and then you decide the one group should go and do this, one group should go and do that, and then when they're all finished, you all come together. Or it could even be teachers in your school. You're having a conference and you want some people to go and deliberate on something, all this. So this is really bringing online what you normally do physically in your environment. So really, there's so many uses you can think of to use some of these things. All right. Collins, go ahead.
All right. So the next is your security. And of course, this will be accessed from your admin console. So you have the security here on the left side of your admin console, and click on the overview. So I'll move straight to the dashboard. This will basically give you just an overview of the key metrics in your admin console. So I'll click on it quickly. All you'll be seeing here basically will be various charts, various insights that shows the status of your admin console at the moment. So 1 minute, please. All right. So sorry for that interruption, but let's move on. So look at what you have here before you. The dashboard basically shows you various insights across various areas of your admin console concerning the status of the various things going on here. Let's take a close look at this particular insight. This is talking about the various external files that have been shared in this domain as at this day, because this is for the last 7 days. I can change this date range. So for this week, this month, if I want, I can go to my calendar and specify the date range that I want to take a look at. And you see that, let me start from June 1st And to this day, I will apply this and take a look what is going to happen here. We're going to get a whole new insight for all the various reports. So for this external files, about 22 to 3,000 files have been shared in this domain and about 7.4 views. So if I want to take a close look at this report, I will just click on view reports to better understand how all of this has happened. Internally, that is within your domain, I have about 5.7 private. This is where you share special links to some special people in your across your domain. Then this one is for anyone with the link. So remember how you go to your drive and you want to share. Sometimes you have to use anyone with the link. Sometimes you just have to do what? Make it private for only just the people you actually include or you enter their emails. They'll be the one to get the files. So that's where the breakouts, all these various breakouts you are seeing here. And if you go down here, you're going to see all the various documents. As you can see, the various documents here, the titles, the owners of these documents, the various views on these documents. So you might want to see that how many people has viewed this particular document titled Face Lesson Plans. And this was shared internally, not externally. So you can see the external file that is shared here, Rachel's notes externally. So you might want to ask some questions. If you have a policy in the school that files from the school shouldn't be shared outside the school for whatever reasons. So this is actually what is going to give you. You're going to see all of this right there before you. And you can go further to click on each and every one of them to, you can see there's an access. This was shared internally and it was shared across only various people who has access to this particular file. Of course, their names, emails, address actually has been entered for them to access those files. So that is what you have here. For this, I can go back to my dashboard and pick on another insight. I can take a look at, look at what user attempt failed. So we have had about 198 login attempts. So let's click on this report and see the breakdown that is going to give us. So look at various login attempts. So there are about 10 login attempts from this particular account. It's about 10, 9, 8. So this gives you a better picture of why you might want to ask why are they having issues logging in into the console. So you might call the attention for these people and find out the challenges they are facing and all that. It is as a result of their password. It's at this point that the IT admin will quickly reset their password to enable them to properly log in to their accounts. So that is a very good thing if you ask me. You want to really know some of the challenges that some of the users using this domain are facing at the moment. You want to find out why they are having failed attempts in logging into their accounts. So let's see successful ones. So yeah, a good number of them have been successful in logging into their accounts. And here you can see the various counts. So assuming you have a user who's always complaining that he has not logged in and is not turning in some of the deliverables, you might want to find out, see, you have actually been logging in successfully. So you need to really come up with a better excuse to why you are not doing the job and giving you to do and all that. And look at the accounts. So these people are really successful in logging into this domain. They don't have any problem whatsoever. So you see how cool this can be, and you can easily export this data to your sheet, for any future analysis that you might want to make. So still on the dashboard, let's take another look at another insight here that is of interest to us. And it's also good for you to know that you can streamline or reduce the amount of insight that you have on this dashboard. Assuming you don't want to be seeing some of these insights, they're not interested, actually, you can click on this button here. It's called the widget. And then as you close each and every one of them, you'll be seeing them that, okay, as you can see now, it's not they're being deleted, they are not being deleted. So you might want to say, oh no, I don't want to do anything from this dashboard. No, no, no. You can actually take them off and add them at any time you might need them by clicking on the plus sign, as you can see from here. So I might not need this, I'll close it. So I'll leave just the only reports or the widget that I really need at the moment. And you can move them around if you want to. I move them around. As you are seeing what I'm doing now, can place them around, place them just the way you want them. So just to make it look good for you. So I think it's a very good area that you might want to pay a good attention or close attention to. If you see here, you're going to be seeing some of the various applications that people in this particular account have been using very often with their domain. So if you see Canva, you see Pinterest, see Plat for Dogs, using Snippet, automatical forms. These are various things that people have actually have accessed, various apps that they have access to. Come here, you're going to see other activities going on here across these various app names. So, and so on and so forth. There's just so much that you can actually get out of the dashboard. And it's actually a good place to just have a general look or overview of the various activities across your domain. So that is the dashboard. And we want to quickly take a look at another area of our security center, which is the health check.
Okay, Collins.
Yes.
Collins, just 1 minute. I just want to help to cement the things you've said so that we really drive it home properly. So you've seen the dashboard, but the dashboard has a lot of graphs there that give you insight into what's happening in your domain. So if you really want to go in there and look at what is actually happening in your domain, who is doing what, so the IT admin who has the access to do this can actually go in there and check all the things that are happening in your domain. So let me give you a good example. So that dashboard actually has a lot of graphs. We've only show you if you scroll down, you will see lots of that different things that gives you insight. Very, very good insight is what's happening in your environment. So let me just quickly summarize the things it showed you. External file sharing. How is that useful in your normal life? For instance, if you have an HR file that shouldn't be shared externally to anybody outside your school, something that is very private to your school, and you see such a file being shared externally, that's a way for you to say, hey, why is this HR file, which should be private to us in the school, is being shared externally? So you could actually see from there and know who has shared it and find out even the date they shared it and be able to query them and find out, so why did you share this file externally? And it will even tell you the user ID of the person that they shared it with. So you can actually use things to investigate, especially this external file sharing. If anybody is sharing files externally that they shouldn't be sharing outside your school. And then if you look at the login attempts, for instance, if you find somebody trying to log into any of your accounts at the wrong time, for instance, at a time that you don't expect people to be logging in, maybe 12 midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., you want to find out what is happening. Why is this person logging in at this time of the day to the environment? Or for instance, if somebody's account has been compromised, maybe somebody is stealing one of your user IDs and password, or maybe an ID password, and you find this person attempting login to your system, that's something you may want to investigate. So this really gives you good insight into what is happening in your environment. And then the applications one that it showed you. So for instance, if you are using any application, for instance, like add-ons in your environment, some applications will ask for access to your drive, to all sorts of things in your environment. So that applications graph actually shows you which applications have requested access to your drive and other things in your environment, so that you will know if there is any application that might compromise your data. So there's so much you can actually do with that dashboard. Yeah. Okay, Collins, go ahead.
All right. So that's the dashboard. I quickly want to take a look at the security health check. So the security health check is actually the area where you will need to understand that all of these things that we are doing here are all functions of the various settings that we have applied already. And Google has actually put together a one-stop place where you can actually have a look at the various settings in your admin console. You see, it can be very overwhelming. Some of the IT admins in this meeting will agree with me that it can be very overwhelming to really set up your admin console for your school, most especially if you don't have any idea of the kind of settings that you should be doing at any point in time. So the health check has come to solve that problem for us. So we are going to be taking a look, seeing a list of all the various settings across this domain, and then you will begin to find out which one is done properly and which one is not done properly. And then you'll be seeing a lot of recommendations by Google on what to do for those settings that were not done or were not done properly. And that's what you're about to see here in a moment. So if you look very closely here on my right hand side, you see that there are some buttons that are green checked, some are grayed out. So these ones that are green checked are the settings that were done or that have been done properly. That you don't need any other additional settings for these settings that you have with a check and this green check on it. But this one grayed out, there's some work that needs to be done here. You agree with me that MS record of this particular domain has issues that need to be sorted out. For the IT admin, you understand what MS record is. This is actually basically what allows you to send and share your emails, send emails and receive emails across the domain. So there's really something missing here, and that is why it's still grayed out. If it's set properly and everything is working properly, it's supposed to look this way. So, and if you take a look at some of the settings, some of them are clickable. So what this thing means is you can quickly dive in straight to the setting corner where you can turn on or do the settings properly. Some of them are clickable, but some are not. Some are not. So sometimes I was asking myself yesterday, like, why is there some of them clickable and some are not? And the simple truth is that, see, this MS record does not depend only on the Google platform for it to be properly set up. So that means there's no one-stop place where you need to go to just do all the magic there. No. So they need to go outside, especially in looking at your domain, routing it properly. And that really has nothing to do with your Google platform. You might have domains of other companies. You might want to go and sort that out and then properly set up your MS record. So without wasting much of our time, I'll look at this one specifically about drive sharing settings. What is really wrong with this? Let's look at the recommendation. Click here. So this confined file sharing within the boundary of your domain. This reduces data leak and data exfiltration risk. User will only be able to share files with allowed listed external domains. So you can see that recommendation even enlightening you more on what some of these settings can actually do for you. So it's actually a place for learning, because you can actually pick one or two things concerning some of these settings and know if it's something you can do or you need for your organization or not. So don't be like some of us that want to see everything green. Please, first of all, think about your organizational need and what you can apply or what is necessary to apply in the various settings. But this, for example, is actually a very good settings to pay attention to, because you wouldn't want everybody to just share things across, or externally to people who are not in this organizational domain. So I will need to work on that, because I believe that's why this is still grayed out, because it's not a good standard practice for you to have, option or people having access to all the files in your domain with people externally or people not in the same environment as you. So click on this directly to take us straight to the setting corner to change that. So for all the files from your drive, from your docs, I'm going to quickly change the settings to prevent external file sharing. So if you look up here, I can see this is on. Sharing outside of Postspring Foundation School. It's on, which is not supposed to, if you ask me. I think it will be proper if you turn it off.
Don't Collins, please set it back. So let them go there and do it themselves. So, but you can show them what it is. I don't want us messing up with anything. So please, but show them, but don't change anything.
So what I will still come and take this off. What I quickly want to show them is for the fact that when this is properly done, of course, this return to this.
Okay.
Yes,
You can show that and then reset it back. You can
yes,
show it and
exactly.
then reset it.
So you just save that. I turn it off, so I can go ahead and save it. Come back to my health check and quickly refresh this. It's loading all the settings all over again. So quickly, the drive sharing you can see is now secure as Google has just said here. So let me quickly just take it back to the previous setting. Okay, so this was the setting we had before. It's either this or you can go with this, or you can list all the various domains you want this file sharing to be applicable to. So let me just save this. So everything is back to the way it was before. And if I refresh this, you're going to see the changes now has been reversed. So you can see it's back again to the way it was before. So just same for every other setting that we have there. Let's say the second page, just click on the next page, you get to see more other settings here in the admin console. So you might want to spend enough time here to make sure that things are properly done. Even your two-step verification for all your users is not set up. The recommendation is also there. You can enforce it so as to make your account well secure. You understand what I mean? You'll be forced to enter any other credentials like your emails or your phone numbers, or just to make sure that your account is properly secured. So you can do that and all. So without wasting much time, I will leave the security health check. So another tool that I want to show us today is the center here, which is going to be your investigation tool. So remember how
Okay. Collins, apologies. Let me just spend 2 minutes again to just make sure they understand this properly. I'm not going to waste too much time. So this, what is just showing you is what is called the health check. So basically, it's for you to check the health of your environment and to be sure that the settings in your admin console, they've been set properly the way Google recommends they should be set. They should be set up. This is something that's been really missing in the admin console before. For you to have this complete overview of all the settings in your environment and to check which ones are set properly, which ones are not set properly. So like it says, it's really an audit of your environment. So this is really an excellent functionality. Now, I want to pick a few things about the MX record. So the MX record, because for instance, I've seen that Chinwe, you're still using Gmail. Meanwhile, you have Google Mail that your school can actually use. So every single person with a user ID in Offspring should be able to use their Google ID to log on to the environment and to even use it anywhere in the world using your school domain name, whatever it is, chinwe.eze@offspring.org, whatever it is. So that MX record is what allows you to do that. So it allows every person in your school to have an email that is recognized so that they can send email not only to people in your school, but also to people outside your school. So it's not good, for instance, as the admin of Offspring, when you send something out that people still say it with Gmail, when you actually have a Google system that allows you to be able to use the Google email to send mails within your school and also mails outside your school. So this is something that needs to be done, to be fixed, to make sure that your email system you start using the Google Mail system for everything you do with email in your school. And we know that when we set up a lot of these schools, Google actually advised us not to set up the MX record and for the schools to decide to do it later if they want to or not. So which is why it wasn't set up. So it's something, if you really want everybody in your school, even the students themselves, of course, you can You can restrict it within the admin console, but even the students themselves, you can send email to them. They can send email out as well. Or you may want to restrict it for students, but for all your teachers, all the admin, they should be able to use the Google email system with your school domain, so that when they send the teachingway.eze@offspring.com or whatever it is, sending this mail. Yeah, so that's number one. Number two, the external file sharing. That actually allows you, for instance, to restrict who can share files outside. For instance, you could pick some names and say, these are the only people who should be allowed to share the files outside your domain. So you restrict everybody else, that you cannot share this file outside the school domain. So for instance, if every single person has got the proper Google email, then they don't have to be sending things with their Gmail. They don't have to be sending school files to their Gmail or anything, because anything has to be within the school environment. So you can restrict sending of external files from your school to outside world by putting the right settings in file sharing. So those are the things that you guys need to look at. Okay, take it away. Right. So let's turn round now. Is now 3:56. So let's try. I know Security Center is a huge monster, and there's so much that can be done. But let's try and see, Collins, if we can do this quickly so that we can. Even though we started 11 minutes late, but let's see how you get on. Yeah.
All right. So I want to take a look at another very cool tool here in Education Plus that is called the Context Aware. Okay. Sorry. Let me quickly use another account. So still on the Security Center. Let me go back to my overview. So look at this tool here. Hold on, where are you? Context Aware Access. So this tool is actually very powerful if you ask me, because it allows you, the IT admin, more control over all the various things that are going on here. So you can actually create a lot of restrictions, we call them access levels, and apply them on all the various organizational units. I'm talking about the staffs, the students, and also across all the various apps that you have on this domain. So what do I mean? For example, you have, because in the organization, you need to restrict, access to your Gmails, to your Google Calendar, to your Drive, to all the various applications that you use often. Only you want to restrict access to only people within the school using the school Wi-Fi or the school network. So let me show you what I mean. I'll come here and first of all make sure that this policy is turned on by clicking on the button turn on. That's the first thing. Because right now it's off. So I'm turning it on for everyone. Then the next thing I do is to then create all the various restriction access or the access levels. Let me give it a name. I can call this testing or just call it webinar. And this access, I want you to block or restrict access to strangers. So the people I'm talking about, strangers, are people that are actually not using the school network. So if you are within the school environment and you are not logged into the school network, you're a stranger and you will not be allowed to do this. So basically, I'll leave this to come down here under condition, leave it meet attributes. So this is when the attributes I'm going to add here, when it's met, then this is what is going to happen next. So let's see some of the attributes that you can actually add here. Let me say list. So I'm interested in the IP subnet. So you're going to get the IP address of the school network. And it's very easy to get that by just going to your CMD, quickly do a quick search on the IP address of your school. Of course, if you are logged into the school, you should be able to see that. So if you click on ipconfig/all, it's going to give you all the information that we need. So here for my school, you can see that this is the IP address of the network I'm using at the moment. This is the IP address I'm using. This is the IP address of your computer. So this is the IPv6. This is also the IP address for your computer, while this one is for the network. So I'm going to take the one for the network and then use it to show you what I want to do. So let's move straight to, let me use the one for the network, IP6 for the network. I can copy this. Hold on. Let me look at that again. Let's get to it. So let me try out this. See?
Collins, let's keep this IP address thing. You should show them locations. So, for instance, whether you are in Lagos, Nigeria, Port Harcourt,
Okay.
because most people won't do this IP address thing. I mean, it's not. I don't think it's something schools will do.
Okay. All right. So, of course, once it's activated, whoever that is not using the network within the school will be able to access all the various apps I'm going to apply this on. But let's just use the geographical origin or geographical locations that Mr. K just mentioned. So I want only people in these following locations to be able to have access to these following tools I'm going to apply it on. Nigeria, of course, will be number one. Select Nigeria. You can come down, select other countries like UK, US, and then come out there. You can see only just 3 locations that I'm using. So once you are done with that, you just go ahead and click on what? Save. The access level has been created. Then how do you apply it? You click on assign access level. That's what you are going to do next. So quickly, it's going to bring out all the various organizational units. If you want to specify the organizational unit you want to apply this particular access to, you can specify, or just leave it at the parent level, which is the Dove Coat Educational Center. Come here and pick the app that you want to place this condition on. So anybody in those 3 locations, they are the only people that are allowed to access these various apps I've just selected. So once you are done with that, quickly click on assign. So there are no access levels available. So I want to quickly refresh my page to be sure that has been taken. So let's take a few other ones again and do that once more. So you can see the access level that I've just created. So you need to just refresh it because this wasn't out before now. So you need to just refresh it. I've chosen the access level that I've just created. So the webinar access level, remember, just specifically for geographical locations among these 3 geographical regions, Nigeria, US, and UK. So those are the 3 people that are actually going to have access. You can see here, one applied locally. You can see the various access levels that have been applied across these 2 apps. So what happens is that anybody in this domain who is not in Nigeria, who is not in UK, who is not in US, will not be able to use the calendar, will not be able to use their drive and docs. So the app is actually very cool to use. So quickly, I will just go ahead and take away all of these access levels. I will turn it off and go ahead and delete all the access levels and the blocking that I just applied here.
Okay. While you do that, Collins, we're going to have to stop here. Next week, you will start with the security, with the investigation tool, because I really don't want to keep people for longer than an hour. It's 4 minutes past 4. So let's use this time left now to do a summary. So, so let me just summarize. First of all, does anybody have any questions before I do a summary? And what's going to happen next? So if there are no questions, so let me just do a quick summary. So number one, like I said, the users you've given us have been set up. If you have any questions about the setup, just send your question to the info2 MKB Consulting email, and we'll make sure we get it sorted out for you. So that's number one. So we're expecting, just like we explained to you last week when we had the webinar to talk about the schedule for this 60-day trial. We did say that every week we'll be telling you what to do for the for the following 2 weeks, or for 2 weeks. So this one is the first one for the next 2 weeks. Then we're going to have a session to next Friday, which is basically going to tell you the other things you're going to be looking at for the next 2 weeks. So this is basically trying to put this into different chunks so that you don't get overwhelmed by the functionality that is available in this new environment. So you can actually take your time to do a proper testing. So what we're going to be doing, obviously, is every other meeting, we're going to go through what you guys have done. So we won't do it next week, but every other meeting, we will basically discuss what you've done, what we find out, and if you have any questions. Of course, don't wait for the meeting for you to send questions to the info2 MKB Consulting email. And then you're going to get this slide pack, because basically you can click on all the links there to tell you. It actually even goes into details of what you need to do for this trial. So we've just tried to give you an overview, but you get a slide pack, and it goes into more details. Now, the other thing I also said is there is also 2 videos here for week 2 and week 3. You can click on one of them, is about 1 hour. I think the other is also about 1 hour, which go into gives a very good overview of what you're supposed to do. Well, very good overview of Education Plus, and also Teaching and Learning Upgrade. So you may also want to watch the videos, just to add, to complement what we've told you, what you've been informed about in this webinar. So that's number 1. So like I said, the 60-day trial, try and use it like you would do normally. This is not really a trial. It's for you to use it like you would work normally in your school. I mean, that's the way Google wants this to be done. Now, let me just check with everyone. So this weekly on Friday, so because we don't want to start trying to schedule meetings every time to get to you to schedule meetings. So the plan is every Friday going forward, we're going to be having a session. So I just want to check that Friday 3 p.m. is still fine with everyone. Can I assume that is the case? I'll need feedback from Chinwe.
Okay, good afternoon, Mr. K.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Friday is a bit tight, especially that time, but
Okay.
I will try my best to be available. But I have questions to ask, if you don't mind.
Okay. Right. Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Collins talked about children or some persons finding it difficult to log in. Then, ma'am, my question is, in the events that some persons or some children are really finding it difficult, then for the reasons not even known to the admin, not like you change their password or something like that, and is asking for the admin to grant access. So in that case, what do I need to do? Because you didn't change any password and is asking for the admin to grant access for that particular account to be logged in. So what do I need to do?
Normally it's because they've forgotten the password and they're trying different passwords. And once you try more than 3 passwords, the system will log you out and they can't log in anymore. So they will have to, and Google will tell them to contact their admin. Which means you just need to reset the password, and then they'll be able to log in. I mean, that's normally what happens when Google sends you a request, sends them a request for the admin to reset their password. And kids, of course, will always sometimes forget. And you don't want to advise them to write it down somewhere, because if they write it down somewhere, then somebody can see it and use it. So that's always going to happen. And
to reset the password.
Yes.
Okay, yes. I've been doing that. I'm asking to know if there's any other thing to do aside resetting password.
No, it's just to reset it. The other thing, of course, is that when you reset it, you could actually do it in a way to say that the person can change it the first time they log on. So they can then change it to something that they can remember.
Okay.
Because if you set it up, you will use a password which the kid might find it difficult to remember. But if you then set it as an option there that says when the person logs in, so you can set an option for them to change it when they log in for the first time, and then they can change it to what they remember.
All right. Okay. The second question is about the emailing system. Yes, you spoke about using the email from the portal to whenever you want to send it, rather than send it using the Gmail account. Yes, I know that I didn't enable that, and the reason being that because of the age of the children we are dealing with. So I didn't want to enable it for them to start using it. But maybe what I can also do is to enable it for some persons, maybe just for the teachers. And
Yes.
okay, maybe
Yes.
that's what I would do.
You can do that. You can disable Gmail for the students and enable it only for your teachers and admin and stuff like that. Once the MX record is set up properly.
Okay, no problem. Mr. Collins, I was a bit distracted when you were showing how to what is it again? I think okay, how to know those that are sharing things outside the portal and all of that. Okay, this is okay, it's recorded. Don't worry, I will rewatch the video
Yes.
too.
Yeah, you can
No, it's fine.
you can rewatch it. Okay. So
Okay, no problem.
thanks to you for those questions. So like I said, so the 6-day trial is started. We've set it up and it will end early December. And one of the things we're going to do is, as you go along here, we're probably going to have webinar with schools, other schools. And one of the things we're going to be expecting is that one or two of you, anyone who feels confident, I mean, to talk about your experience with other teachers, because if that is coming from you, it's more credible than coming from us. So I would just say you guys should just be ready to talk about your experience using this paid version of Google Workspace. Yeah. Not to put you on the spot, you know, you don't even have to prepare slides. You can just talk about it if you don't want to prepare slides. But we'll let you know. Excuse me. We'll let you know weeks before the time, so you get enough sufficient time. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, and I'm sure some of you, I mean, some of the exciting things that are going to come, you haven't seen them yet, especially the classroom area where there's a lot of exciting things like practice sets and Google add-ons and stuff like that. So hopefully when we get to that in the subsequent weeks, we're going to get to the areas of the classroom, which is also exciting. So just hang on tight for other things that are coming in subsequent weeks. Now, so let me check with you guys. Now we fixed this meeting for every week. So I was just wondering, should we probably make it every other week rather than every week? Because you guys are going to be doing every 2 weeks. And then, so the idea is to cover what you're going to do for 2 weeks. So I'm just wondering, should we actually make this bi-weekly, that's every other week rather than every week? Especially if Friday seems to be a tight time, every other week might sound better. Antonio, you haven't said anything. Do you have any questions or any concerns before I go on? We're going to end this very soon. Is Antonio not there? Or Chidima? I hope I got the name right. Chidima, do you have any questions? Any concerns?
No, sir. All
right. Okay. All right. I think that's it from us today. I'm going to stop recording, and so what we're going